So I'll invite Steve to share a few thoughts.
I thank and praise God for this opportunity to be gathered here on this not so wonderful Saturday morning, I'll admit. But I mean, it's a great day because we are sitting in the presence of God and we are going to hear from God's Word. Amen? Come on, guys. Okay, thank you. Alright, so today what we're going to be diving into is, I ran this over hundreds of times in my head. Alright, it's going to be a really way to start this thing. But who thought that Jesus was popular? Amen? Come on, if you guys don't think that your God is popular, I don't know what to say to you. Is he popular?
Yes.
Wherever he went, hundreds of people followed him. Now let me ask you a counter question. Are you popular?
Yeah, because of Jesus.
Exactly. So only one person. Yeah, you guys need to build some self-esteem here, alright? You guys are popular, yes, because of Jesus Christ. Amen? Because whether you realize it or not, you might think, oh, I'm the least known in my office, I'm the least known in my school, nobody bothers to talk to me or anything like that. No, because even the world has a standard which it sets Christians to. When a person meets you, a non-believer meets you, they say, okay, this guy's a Christian, I can take a few pints, but this guy, if he takes a few pints, it's a problem, alright? He can't drink, he can't do any of the stuff that I do because he's a Christian, he has moral standards. So even the people of the world set Christians to such a high standard that when you break those standards, the world is immediately, okay, this guy's not a right Christian, right? I can do any of I can break all of the 10 Commandments if I want to, but this guy's a Christian, so I gotta keep my eye on him. So just like people followed Jesus wherever he went, multitudes, everywhere, right? And there are many verses, the great multitudes followed him, and he healed them there. There was a multitude on the other banks of Galilee. So all these different people were following him. And if we take apart that crowd that was around him, we can see how the people who are around us, the crowd that was around Jesus symbolizes the people that were around us. And how we can build our circle of good and bad people around who was following Jesus. No two people followed God for the same intentions. They all had their own personal gains from that. So what I want to do today is I want to take apart three main groups of Jesus' fan club. And we're going to study how these different people, especially if you're starting a ministry, are also going to be starting to circle us and looking for something from us, whether it's through good intent or if it's a bit more selfish ambition that is driving that drawing towards you. So I know Praveen doesn't usually do this, but if you guys could use your Bibles and turn to Mathew 4, verses 18 to 19, and we're going to try something different. I'd like one of you to read it, so get a little bit of participation from you guys. So, Matthew 4, verses 18 to 19.
And Jesus, walking by the sea of Galilee, saw two brothers, Simon called Peter and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. Then he said to them, "Follow me, and I will be fishers of men."
Alright, yeah, so this is a popular verse because we see that this is when God is first calling his disciples. Now, if you actually Google a disciple in the dictionary, the first thing that comes up is a follower of Jesus Christ. So I skipped that definition because, that's pretty much implied. And we're going to go to the general definition of what a general disciple is. So it's a follower or student of a teacher or leader. Now, one synonym that I really want to dwell on for a second is devotee, someone who's devoted to you. So God placed these disciples around Jesus in order to help him in his ministry. Just like that, God places different people in our good circle of people in order to help us. God brings certain people and places them there. And why are they around you? Because they have a calling. They have a purpose to be there. They have a purpose to stand there and be the Aaron which lifts Moses' hands, especially if you're beginning a ministry or something new. There are going to be people around you, not for bad reasons, but for the purpose that God has put them there to do. And that is exalt you, lift you up. And now, they were Jesus' personal aides, and just like that, we have our own personal devotees, which we constantly interact with every day. Now, you might not realize, but these people are around you, and you're like, all right, I see this guy every day, but why? Because he's there because God sent him to help you in his ministry. Now, the second group of people I want to dwell on a little bit longer because it's something that I believe is very important, and it symbolizes something that many people don't think of when they think of Jesus. Are you all aware of the phrase, Jesus, friend of sinners?
Yes.
Right? He was, don't mistake me for Jesus, friend of Pharisees, it's friend of sinners. He did not make, he was not all buddy-buddy with all the big Pharisees or the big religious, so-called men of God at the time, but all the people who were considered sinful, unclean, and were outcast from society, they were the people who God drew near to him because he knew that they needed something. Now, from the dawn of humanity, and I know what you're thinking, that's a long time ago, but from the dawn of humanity, people have been searching for one thing. There was a God-shaped vacuum, as our pastor likes to call it. There's a God-shaped vacuum in every human heart. And when that vacuum is there, they try to fill it. Years, centuries ago, they tried to fill it with different things, such as extreme work, alcohol, drugs, but that is not the answer that they were looking for. Nothing could fit into that gap that was just pestering them, troubling them, and they were struggling with that emptiness that was inside of them until Jesus Christ came. And when Jesus Christ came, suddenly all these sinners, these unbelievers, these people who were shunned and they had nothing left, they had hit rock bottom, suddenly they had been granted something that they had never seen or experienced in their life before, and that is peace. The peace that passes all understanding was inside them from the moment they met Jesus and onwards. Now, there were many sinners who met Jesus, like the 10 lepers, the Zacchaeus, the tax collector, but there's one person that was just driving such a profound effect from Jesus' encounter with Jesus, and that was Mary Magdalene. She was the one who actually got the full taste of the gospel when she met Jesus, who had resurrected from the tomb. She was the one who rallied the apostles after Jesus' resurrection. They were like, oh no, okay, Jesus is dead, I'm not doing this anymore. But she said, no, Jesus is alive, I want you to get up, and I want you to do what God told you to do, fulfill the Great Commission. She was the one who did that. And why? Because she was a sinner. She was outcast by everyone. Nobody wanted to talk to her. Nobody went near her because why? She had a very interesting situation, and that was demon possession. I say interesting because she was in such a position where she could not do anything herself. Things like diseases, people could somehow go to doctors or physicians, and they could somehow maybe get healed. But this demon possession, nobody knew how to perform an exorcism. And only Jesus had the power to fully cast out the demons. He met her and basically he said, shoo. And they left her, and she was just so awestruck that she loved him so much that she followed him to the grave. I don't mean she died, I mean she literally went to Jesus' crucifixion. And she was there and she was crying. Now you might be wondering, why were all these unbelievers drawn to Jesus? That's the million-dollar question, because normally if there's a religious movement, all the religious people would be with the religious leader, right? But that's because Christianity is not a religion. Christ did not come to create a religion. He made a relationship. He restored the link, the Holy Spirit, between God and man, the perpendicular message, because after Adam and Eve, that link had been severed by Satan, and he came to rebuild that link. Right? Come on, people. Obviously. This is like something groundbreaking here. You guys are like, oh, that's cool. Whatever. So is there an amen for Jesus? I can't do anything with your praise, but Jesus appreciates it. So amen. Yes, thank you. That is, the devil was shaking his boots when he hears that. So, these people, these unbelievers also come around you, these people who are wanting something. Because that Shekinah glory, that Holy Spirit which is covering you, that was the same one that was covering Jesus. So when the people come to you, they're looking for something. Do not turn them away like how the so-called men of God at that time did. They did not want to have to do anything with that so-called unclean people. But you must say, come closer, and I will show you how to look unto Jesus Christ, who is the author and finisher of my faith. Many people say, no, don't look at me, look to Jesus. But Paul said, look unto me, and I will show you Jesus on earth. Because we have to portray Jesus' character in ourselves in order to reach the people. Alright, so now let's just tone down the excitement a little bit, because the next is preferably the most hated group that was constantly around Jesus. The wolves in sheep's clothing were constantly stalking him wherever he went. And if anyone can guess, that is the Pharisees. The Pharisees, so I'm talking about, all right, there were the disciples everywhere. There were the people who were needing something, the people who came to be healed. They were all there. But along with that, standing somewhere in the corner in almost every big revival that Jesus did were the Pharisees. And you know, Matthew 22:15, I'm just going to read it here. So Matthew 22:15, then the Pharisees went and plotted how they might entangle him in his talk. So they were trying to be a little bit decent. This was before the crucifixion. They're like, okay, first we ensnare him in his talk to make sure that everybody hates him, and then we get to the bloody gruesome horror. But then, that didn't end up working because God is just too smart for them. Another passage, so God held the first few theological debates the world has ever seen. We might think that people like Ravi Zacharias or Kent Hovind are the ones who began this stuff, but no, it was Jesus Christ, and he began the first theological debate the world has ever seen, the first few in the New Testament itself. So one of them was like, the Pharisees like, in a nutshell, can we divorce our wives? And the Pharisees are like, well, Moses said we could. And then Jesus is like, you know what, let me be straight with you, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You guys made Moses and me fed up. We were fed up with your constant nagging, your complaining. So we're like, all right, you know what, have it, right? Shush. So that's what happened, and they were at a loss for words. They're like, I don't know what to say, because no matter how hard they try, Jesus is the one that always gets the last word. So in Matthew 22:15, they are plotting to ensnare Jesus by asking him, is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar? Now, many people might be like, okay, what's the big deal? I mean, they are, at that time, they were citizens of a big, large section of land, and that's called the Roman Empire. So, wouldn't it be technically lawful to pay taxes to Caesar? That's what we might think, but the Jews were still sort of a country on their own. They sort of pulled back, so if he had said yes, that means that he would be considered disloyal to the Jews, and the Jews would all hate him. But if he said no, he would be turned into Rome as a traitor. So he gave a very smart answer. I love this answer. It just portrays how clever Jesus is sometimes. He asked for a denarii, the currency of the time, and he shows the face to the people because there was a crowd there. You might think that it was done in private, but there was a large crowd there, so they thought about how they could ensnare him and have him tongue twisted in front of everybody. But he said, render unto God what is God's, and what to Caesar what is Caesar's. And it's a very clever answer because that coin has the engraved image of Caesar, just like how we have Abe Lincoln or Ben Franklin or our currency today. But God had created man in the image of him. So that's why he said, give unto me what is mine, and that is your worship and your praise. Alright, so we learn here that loyalty is not the currency of the realm, but currency is the currency of the realm, right? So just like this, around us there are many sort of people that you might see, you might want to just grab everyone's hand and do a little happy dance and sing kumbaya, but that's not how life is today. There are people who will pretend to be close to you. All what they want to do is they want to dangle a little fish hook in front of you, get you to take the bait, and they'll be like, hey, what about this? And they'll be like, oh, that's a great idea. And he's like, boom, you're out. And before you know it even hits you, before it even hits you, you're out. You've lost the game. They're like, out. Alright? Out. Told myself I wouldn't get carried away today. But anyway, this is exactly what's going to happen. These Pharisees, these wolves in sheep's clothing, are going to come, entice you, and then knock you out of everything for good. These people are not people sent by God. Don't make a mistake. You don't be like, God's punishing me because I did something wrong. No, God is a forgiving God, but these people are sent by the devil. God will punish you for if you have done something wrong unless you repented. But these people were not sent by God. These people are sent by Satan because he does not want you to rise up. This point is extremely important for anybody who's starting ministry or doing something new, because Satan is constantly sending legions of these people against you in order to make sure that you do not climb up with your devotees, with your people, with men of God who are around you. He wants to make sure that you are torn back down time and time again. And it takes the Holy Spirit, a God's spirit of discernment, in order to understand which people are which. So what I'm asking of you today is to make sure that you are careful about the people who are around you. Dig deeper into this. There are so many stories which you could learn from. God has written all of this in the Bible for this purpose only. God has written it in here, not so that you could be like, oh, this is a nice story. I mean, it's a bestseller on Wall Street and stuff. No, He wrote this so that you could have what you need in order to live a good spiritual Christian life. So be careful about the crowd that's around you. Make sure you dig deeper into the Word. I'd like to thank Praveen Uncle and God for this opportunity, because Praveen Uncle had been the one who first reached out to me about this. And thank you guys. You've been a great audience, and I'm going to get out of here.